Hello, everybody. Let's all do this together. Welcome to the PHLY postgame show. Bo Wulf, the precog himself, Jamie Lynch, here to talk about a wild game for the Eagles, a 28-23 victory over the Dallas Cowboys, a game that came down to the final play, to the final seconds, a game that really the Eagles tried to lose throughout several points in the fourth quarter, but they come up with the stop at the end. And as Jamie said before the show, on the kickoff show, he said, I got a feeling there's something that's popping into my brain. Josh Sweat is going to make a big play when it matters. And the Eagles, the Cowboys, down 5 points with like the most garbanzo beans drive you've ever seen, get the ball into the Eagles' red zone with a chance to win the game, and Josh Sweat, rushing from the left side instead of the right side, comes up with a huge sack that, by all intents and purposes, is the game winner, and the Eagles 8-1 now, heading into the bye. The first of their 6-game stretch is done. It's a W. Now they have a 2.5-game lead in the NFC East. They remain the team with the best record in the NFL, Jamie, and it is one of those perfect Eagles victories in which there is so much to yell at them about, and they still won the game, and even better, the Cowboys lost.
Yeah, let me just say this, because I think it's what everybody in the Delaware Valley and beyond that's an Eagles fan is thinking. Holy shit, that was because right before that Josh Sweat sack, I had the feeling like kind of just rush over me of, oh my God, they're going to lose this game. Because, you know, Dallas got down the field there. They started at their own 14, and next thing you know, they were at the Eagles' 12 in like 4 or 5 plays, thanks to some defensive penalties. Bradbury gets hurt. Slay gets hurt. DeAndre Swift runs into A.J. Brown the play before. Like, it was just a comedy of errors, and then they got lucky.
There's no doubt about the fact that they got lucky.
Yeah, they got real lucky to get that win, and you know, a lot of the wins this year, you're walking away from it going, I don't know how they pulled that off, but they pulled it off again.
And the offense bears a ton of the blame for how close that game was at the end. Oof. Their final 3 possessions, 3 and out on every single one of them.
Yikes.
Now, one of them starts within their own 1-yard line, right? And it's tough to really blame them for that. The really bad one is they get the ball at 28-23 with a chance to ice the game away. You're hoping that this is one of those classic 4-minute drives for the offense. The Cowboys aren't going to get the ball back. And they have a 3rd and 3, and they call like a fade, a downfield one-on-one pass to A.J. Brown when you know that everybody in the stadium is expecting, let's have a little inside run here. If we get 2 yards, great. We can sneak for the first down after that. Don't get it. They punt the ball away, and then they get the ball back again, and it's 3 and out again with a chance to run the ball. And so, as you said, the Cowboys get the ball on their 14-yard line with 50 seconds left, and it takes 1 play for them to get to the 50-yard line on a James Bradbury penalty. Bradbury goes down. He eventually returned at the very end. Slay goes down. We'll talk about Dallas Goedert left this game and did not return. Jalen Hurts was banged up in this game. It feels like the bye is coming at a good time. But that Josh Sweat play, it is like Hassan Reddick has been the closer for the past year and a half. Finally, Josh Sweat gets to be the guy who makes that game-winning play.
Yeah, that was a really wild sequence of events there. And, you know, since it's the perfect Eagles game and that they win and we get to complain, one of the big complaints is it seems like the run game isn't there for the Eagles when they need it.
I think that's well said.
Yeah, this is not the first instance where you needed to pick up a first down this year and you could basically end the game. And they haven't been able to do it on what feels like at least 4 to 6 occasions this year And there was, three of them in this game, two or three of them in this game.
We didn't even talk about the disastrous play on their final possession. They just got two guys running into each other. A.J. Brown, cold cocks DeAndre Swift in the backfield. He drops the ball. Tyler Steen, who had,
that might be the play of the game.
A rough game, it seemed like. The most important play of the game, absolutely, was him, sort of luckily, that ball just falls under his armpit and he recovers the ball. I mean, they were trying to lose this game any way they could. And for a team that harps so much on getting the details right, that is as disastrous a play as you could possibly have.
Yeah, and Brandon Graham, I think, kind of encapsulated every Eagles fan with his reaction to that play, which was like, ooh, because he knew they got lucky. Tyler Steen, the camera panned to him on the bench, and he was almost like, what the fuck just happened?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it almost does seem like, the Cowboys kind of blew a golden opportunity.
No doubt.
Like a golden opportunity. Because now what this does in the NFC East, as we talked about in the pregame show, and the NFC, everybody's chasing the Eagles, and we all know how important that bye is in the first round, and having games come through Lincoln Financial Field, that was a golden opportunity for Dallas, and they Plaxicoed themselves.
I like that. Now, this was a very entertaining game. I would say it was not a super crisply played game. Mistakes abound on both sides.
Game of the week, for sure.
No doubt. This game is a lot different if Dak Prescott stays in bounds on the 2-point conversion and they can kick a field goal at the end. This was Brandon Graham's best game of the season by far. Had a huge sack and then combined with Jalen Carter on a sack on the very next play. But he was the guy who sort of got enough pressure on Dak to get him out of bounds there. Lots of ticky-tack penalties in this game. Lots of sort of self-inflicted wounds on both sides. But it has been I feel like we've been doing this every week where we're just complaining about the Eagles and here they are at 8-1. But that was like a game where it felt like the Eagles got up 28-17, and you could sort of feel them seeing their bye week plans just in the distance.
Yeah,
it's like they turned it off just enough that they disengaged from what they really needed to do. And credit to Josh Sweat and the defense at the very end, because they must have been absolutely gassed at the end of that game, because the offense obviously didn't help them out at all with those 3 straight 3-and-outs.
No, somebody in the comment section said Brian Johnson was phenomenal in the third quarter and terrible in the fourth.
This was a really well-called game until the fourth quarter. I mean, they scored a touchdown on the opening drive. They scored a touchdown on the opening drive of the second half. I thought it was a really well-called game.
Yeah, the red zone was efficient.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there in the fourth quarter. Maybe they were thinking about the beach, like you say. But, that was the Eagles got lucky. That's the bottom line, is they got really lucky to get out of this with a win.
Well, you can get lucky, too, if you want to go get some cards at Wheelhouse Cards, which is our go-to sports card gift and apparel shop in the Delaware Valley. Their motto is cards and community, because love of sports unites us all. They carry all of our favorite card brands like Topps Chrome Baseball and Mosaic Football, as well as t-shirts, hats, and hoodies from brands like Mitchell & Ness, 47 brand, Junk Food,
I got a 47 brand hat on right now.
And I can't get over how handsome that sweater.
Yeah, the girls came up big for me.
What are we calling that hoodie? Yeah, beautiful. What a gift. Shibe Vintage Sports as well. Looking to grade your sports card collection? Wheelhouse offers PSA grading submissions. They also host tons of different family-friendly events and birthday parties every month. So stop into either of their stores in Wayne or Westchester, which are open 7 days a week at 11 a.m. Use code PHLY and get $10 off any purchase of $25 or more in-store. Also, be sure to give them a follow on Instagram at Wheelhouse Cards. And we can talk game time too here, because it's a long wait now until
I
the
used
Eagles'
game
next
time
game.
last night.
Last night?
Yeah, I went to a comedy show. It was great.
And you were just
I paid
right
significantly less than my buddy who used another app. So, I mean what else do you need? Yeah, and we went to a comedy show, so it was cool because you could check out the seat view in the app, so you knew exactly where you were going to be sitting and what you were in store for. But yes, the Game Time app is awesome. Jamie Lynch approved. My first time using it. Well, second time now. Twice in a week, because I've been out and about in town lately.
Birthday guy all over the place.
But the Game Time app is absolutely awesome. Buying tickets to your favorite event should not be stressful, and it was not when I used Game Time. It's a fast and easy way to buy tickets to the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. My daughters are Bluey fans, and I know there's a Bluey Live event coming out, so I might have to stalk that on the Game Time app. But it's flash deals, last-minute tickets, great, easy place to find the tickets you need for whatever event it is you want to get to. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals right up to the day of the event. They have flash deals. You can get images of your seats, buy your tickets in seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Snag your tickets without the stress of Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off.
Okay, let's reset a little bit. We will hear from Zach Berman from Lincoln Financial Field.
A big piece of news Zach could have for us. It didn't look good, Dallas Goedert's arm.
Didn't look great.
Hopefully there's no break, and it's just something a bye week can kind of get them through. But
it is also, it's tough to get that. They're not going to give us an injury update, right after the game. But if maybe he sees him in a sling or something like that, he can keep his eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Curious to hear what the reaction in the locker room is. Zach will be with us in probably, I'm guessing, about like 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
30 minutes or so. Let's talk about just the general state of things here. Jalen Hurts, 17 of 23 for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 130.2 quarterback rating. I thought Jalen, he was like there was some warrior to him playing through some of the pain, especially in the second quarter. But it's hard to divorce those last 3 drives from like the overall picture of this game. Not that he bears the brunt of that completely, but he played well in this game, I thought, and it would have been nice to, maybe give him more of a chance to make a play at the end of that game.
Yeah, I think it's
10 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown.
I think it's pretty clear he's pretty hurt.
I think.
Duh.
Right.
But Lawrence, with that shot before the half, and me and you were kind of thinking the same thing. I actually did like a live halftime reaction, and I think it's still fair. Like if he's incapable of making the throw there, do you put in Mariota?
Yeah.
Who sucks? Like I don't want to
who is not good.
Yeah, like I don't want to say it's like a no doubt thing you do, but Jalen Hurts then couldn't throw, and you saw DeVonta Smith kind of giving it to Brian Johnson. Like why are we giving up here before the half? And the game ended up being so close that those 3 points could have been huge. There was another play where he was scrambling out of bounds, and it was a classic. Hurts would have typically fought for those extra 3 yards in a first down type of plays, and he just dipped out of bounds. I think he's really banged up, and hopefully now, this bye couldn't be coming at a better time for several guys. A lot of guys are banged up, but Jalen Hurts, I think, is definitely playing through some extreme pain right now. But yeah, when you consider that, overall, pretty good day. I mean, the touchdown pass to DeVonta Smith.
Oh, beautiful throw. Maybe his best throw this season.
Yeah, that's about as pretty as football can get right there. Just, an overall pretty good day for a guy that's playing through a lot of pain.
Believe it or not, it was the second best performance of the season by EPA per drive for the offense as a whole at 1.6, although it was more in the middle for success rate. They were just below 50% there. Again, not much doing on the ground. DeAndre Swift, 18 carries for 43 yards, got some tough yards in there. But like you said, when they need to run the ball,
they can't.
They can't right now, and that has been their superpower, one of many on offense over the past year and a half. And the last few games, it has been missing. So and you sort of hope that. Like, okay, when Cam Jurgens comes back, is that all that it takes?
Yeah, it does seem like the two kind of correlate together, their inability to get the run when they need the run and Cam Jurgens missing time. I'm sure everybody's hopeful that it's just as simple as that, but if it's not, I don't get it, because DeAndre Swift was really good. Like on that one A.J. Brown touchdown drive, Swift led him down the field, had a couple nice carries, had a nice catch. It's not like the run game isn't there. It's just the run game's not there when they need it. And that is, if you're a team that's going to be up a lot, which the Eagles are, I think they're second in the NFL, or at least they were last week. They might be first now in least time playing from behind.
Okay.
So if you are that team that you're going to be out to leads early and often, you need to be able to run the ball when the other team knows you're going to run the ball. And right now, I think that's my biggest complaint about the Eagles, or concern, I should say, about the Eagles offense is it's a little sketchy when the other team knows they're going to run.
Kenny Gainwell, 3 carries for 22 yards and a touchdown. I would say there were 3 moments in this game that made me laugh out loud. The first was the Kenny Gainwell touchdown because it was like unbelievable commitment to the bit.
Yeah.
It was like the whole season had been leading up to
Sirianni was trolling us.
Yeah, like everybody. It was like the whole field was in on. Wouldn't it be so funny if Kenny Gainwell got the first carry
and
from the red
flips
zone
into the end zone?
And flips into the end zone on a really nice run. And I hope that he texted that same jabroni at halftime and was like, how you like me now? Or something like that. Like, I hope that he did do that. The second moment that made me laugh was Matt Leo on the sideline getting knocked over. And then
somebody's got to get to the bottom of
everybody
that.
talking about what kind of undergarments he
Could
might have
just
been
be your
wearing.
basic white cotton underwear that, you know.
It could have just been different coloration on the screen. I mean, amazing moment. Look forward to getting to the bottom of that.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you know, there's a couple pictures out there on the Twitter.
And then the last one was the Dak helicopter, the double hit near the goal line. I mean, just
How did he hold on to
laughing
that?
at the ferocity of that play.
He landed at the top of his head first.
And you know what we should say? Like, Dak Prescott was a pretty tough guy in this game too. He took a few big hits.
And that, yeah, he did. And Dak is tough. And I can't believe it's only the second time that him and Jalen have faced each other. But that 2-point conversion, man, that changed the game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Andrew, when we were watching the game, was like, oh, no, they're going to kick a field goal and tie it. And forgetting that he had stepped out of bounds because that was the game. If Dak gets that 2-point conversion, you're going to overtime. And I don't think any Birds fan in here or us thinks they're going to win that game because momentum was completely in Dallas's favor.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder how many more times they're going to tackle each other before if they got the ball back.
What was that?
And of course, your boy Rashad Penny, 2 carries for 8 yards.
I know. One off
One
on my
off.
hot take of 3 carries today.
AJ Brown, 7 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. A really nice touchdown. The way
streak
that he was able
stops,
to make them miss there.
This guy sucks.
DeVonta, 3 for 51 and a touchdown. Did not get my 80 yards aggressive bet, but that's okay. Dallas Goedert, 3 for 50. That means that once again, Jamie Lynch, 2 for 2 on his bet. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's now fully statistically relevant, okay? Like, Jamie has been this good for this long on his kickoff show,
Yeah.
Best Bets. You need to watch if you want to make some money.
Yeah, I'm kind of freaking myself out a little bit with a 15-3 record on the year. But unfortunately, the play I got 2-0 on is the play where Dallas Goedert kind of got tackled. And it was a nice play. I think he got 29 yards on the play. But he kind of twisted that arm and got tackled weird and immediately went off the field and into the locker room. So
Did not return.
Did not return.
Yes, and so the Eagles were also without Grant Calcaterra in this game. Not maybe the most important sounding thing, but that meant that the only 2 tight ends left were Jack Stoll and Albert Okwuegbunam. So if Goddard's going to miss some time, we're going to find out how much Jalen Hurts really trusts Jack Stoll.
Yeah, interested to hear from Zach in a little bit about that because, you know, is Goddard in the locker room? Like, if it's nothing big, he might be telling reporters, like, nah, I'm fine. I'll be back after the bye, you know. If he's not around the scrums in the locker room and is maybe getting treatments or x-rays or something, that could be a little more telling. So hopefully Dallas Goedert's all right. You know, Slay and Bradbury got banged up there at the end. Like, that defense was gassed at the end.
Absolutely, guys. And listen, that's part of, like, the Eagles played without Derek Barnett in this game, right? They sat him.
I don't know how they survived.
They sat Moro Ojimo, but that meant that those guys on the edge, like those guys on the defensive line, at the end of the game, that's why Brandon Graham was out there so much, because they couldn't just keep throwing Reddick and Sweat out there. I did think it was interesting when the game was on the line there that they had Reddick and Sweat switching sides, just sort of to throw something different at the Cowboys offense. But, I mean, those guys had to be gassed, and Jalen Carter had a mostly quiet game until the very end when he was involved in a couple of those plays. Fletcher Cox, our boy,
our
had
teammate,
a big sack in this game. We were all like, we're doing like the full TO. That's my quarterback out there, like, we're just crying tears of happiness for our teammate.
Yeah, Jalen Carter almost had that penalty there. Like, again, like, it was just like this comedy of errors in that final drive where Jalen Carter jumps off sides. Now, luckily, the Cowboys false start and give it right back. the play after it. But that was one of those where you're like, oh no, Jalen, not you too. Like everybody was just screwing up.
And there is no doubt that the secondary is going to be a big talking point over the next couple of weeks, because CeeDee Lamb in this game, 11 catches for 191 yards on 16 targets.
He had 191 yards?
191 yards, and he was giving it to everybody.
Jeez.
Now, he did get 23 yards on that final play of the game when he gets tackled, but still, he was over
150.
150.
Easy.
So he was giving it to everybody. The Eagles put, and I would like to see the breakdown, because I think that a lot of these yards did come from the slot. There was that one when he was in the backfield as well, but in the middle of the field, which is where we know the Eagles are weak, that's where the Cowboys were killing them. Sidney Brown is in coverage. Eli Ricks is in coverage. Sometimes it's zone and the linebackers in coverage. At one point, the Eagles started having Darius Slay follow Lamb when he wasn't in the slot, and they were playing on opposite sides, but they tried whatever they could, and it wasn't working. And then Jake Ferguson, the tight end, 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. I'm telling you, the disparity of the passing yards for Dak Prescott, who threw for 374 yards in this game, I would bet that like 80% of those came in the middle of the field, and
probably
made it all the more surprising that on that 4th down play at the end, they threw it to the outside on Jalen Tolbert when Ferguson was running wild over the middle of the field. But the middle of the defense for the Eagles is an issue right now. Kevin Byard was sort of slow in coverage a few times, it seemed like. Now he made a nice play with Cunningham, but the Eagles are going to have a lot to do as they prepare to face the Chiefs offense, and then the Bills offense, and then the Niners offense, and then back to Dallas, and then back to Seattle. They've got a lot of work to do in the secondary.
Yeah, it's I saw some people in the chat, and shout out to everybody in the chat. If you're in here, please hit that like button for us. Talking about Bradbury, it did seem as though Bradbury was getting cooked a little bit today. Luckily, kind of came through there big on the 4th down play where he just did some straight up coverage and made it a tough play. But yeah, the middle of the field and the secondary. After Miami, which is so weird, and we'll officially put them on fraud watch. Don't know. You shut down that offense, and then now the last 2 weeks, Sam Howell and Dak Prescott have just kind of picked you apart a little bit. And you have Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Brock Purdy, but. One of those is not like the other.
He may not last the whole game.
Yeah, so you got some big quarterbacks coming up. Maybe this is something where the defense is just gas because they've been playing a lot these last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
maybe some of these guys are cooked. I think Slay and Bradbury, it's fair to ask, has age caught up with them. I think Slay's been okay, but Bradbury's definitely had a decline.
Yeah, I don't think that he's been that bad, and I don't think there were a few of the plays that he was at fault for in this game were like extended plays.
Sure.
When it was like a third move or whatever.
But the one he bit on the pump from Dak. But he has certainly not
been as like fantastic as he was last season. No doubt.
He was great last year.
Yeah.
And it's only natural for a guy at age 32, 33 to kind of, you're not going to get better at age 33.
Sure.
So it's natural to expect that, but
cornerback play is sort of like historically volatile year to year. So
sure.
You could sort of see that coming. I think they're still okay on the outside. The problem is, they're not getting that much action on the outside because everybody knows
just go over the
where
middle.
They're weak is the middle of the field. So definitely plenty to watch there. Tony Pollard, 12 carries for 51 yards. If you're an Eagles fan, every time they handed the ball off, you're very happy.
Yeah, please, just hand it off.
Anytime you want to run the ball.
And Jordan Davis, I saw some people commenting on the hamstring. He was, I don't want to say a non-factor, but I didn't notice Jordan Davis a lot today. Jalen Carter was relatively quiet as well.
Yeah, like the defensive line, this was not a game that they dominated.
No.
They had some nice flashes.
I thought Reddick was all over the place a lot today.
Yeah, and obviously, Josh Sweat makes the game-winning play,
sure.
So we're not taking anything away from the defensive line, but this was not a game that it was like the story was how great the defensive line was.
No, they're not putting it on their resumes or their LinkedIn profiles.
I would like to know what Jalen Carter's LinkedIn profile looks like.
Yeah, I would love to see his work history.
This is a good one because this is one where Zach would know everybody on the defensive line, their bios, if they have like a first job on there.
He remembers
he'll
that
know
stuff?
it. And for something, I think that there is a Jordan Davis worked at like a fair, like
he was a carnival?
No, like an amusement park. I think I'm gonna put that. I'm pulling a Zach Berman. I think that Jordan Davis worked at an amusement park as his first job, which that's a fun thing to see if you go to an amusement park. Just
apparently,
Davis.
Right. There's another country musician named Jordan Davis. So.
Yeah, screws the Google every time.
Yeah.
Brutal.
He's bigger than our Jordan Davis? Not literally, but Google-wise?
Good question.
Yeah. That
Also,
or Google just hates the
I have a nephew
birds.
named Jordan Davis, so shout out to PJ.
Entrepreneur215 in the chat says, Bayard is washed. I don't know why I said Bayard. Bayard is washed.
Entrepreneur.
And now we see why Tennessee got rid of him. I can't go there yet. It's the first 2 games in a new system.
I also really disagree with the Blankenship take here. He says Blankenship is slow. He's the Alex Singleton of this defense. Looks good in limited situations. He's very tight in coverage on this guy. Some of those were just very good catches. He is, I think, the most reliable guy in the entire secondary right now, and I'm a little in the tank for him, so I think that's fair. But I am like Blankenship is the least of my concerns in the secondary.
Yeah, he does seem to be in the right position, and a lot of guys have tough catches on him. I don't think he was cooked at all, but Bayard. Bayard. I don't want to go there yet because there is an acclimation period. He almost got a really dumb penalty, which then Nick Sirianni.
He did get a really dumb penalty.
He did, yes. Yeah. It almost worked out for the Eagles, but after they reviewed it, the spot.
Now, I do think that it is supposed to be a personal foul if you're peeling guys off the pile.
It is, yeah.
And so they missed that.
Yeah.
So it should have been offsetting, but still, not a smart thing for
No. They always get the second guy. You got to know that.
This was a good game for Sirianni sideline content.
Oh yeah,
as
he dropped a huge F-bomb at one point, yelling at the refs. There was good Sirianni animation.
Yeah, I think he should lean into it.
And there's no doubt about it. If he wasn't our coach, we would absolutely hate this guy. Like if Sirianni was the Cowboys coach and not that stooge Mike McCarthy, we would loathe Nick Sirianni.
I think most of the league feels that way.
Yeah. So I totally get it.
Yeah. I think that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's winning what, like 71, 72% of his games as Eagles coach?
Something like that.
It's
it's unbelievable. I feel like hero bread. We should have like the hero of the game. Let's have the sponsorship guys work on that. That should be the hero bread hero of the game. In this game, I feel like it would probably be Tyler Steen for recovering that fumble.
It honestly
it would probably be Josh Sweat. But
I don't know. I mean, I think you can make the case that if Steen doesn't get that, they lose.
Yeah.
Because there was what?
I think both of those things, right?
True. But there was what, 4.5 minutes left? Something like that around that time?
Something like that.
If Steen the Cowboys are going to score there.
Less than that, I think.
Maybe less.
Oh, no, when
Steen recovers the fumble.
Oh, it was like a minute left.
Okay, it was that late.
But they would have been on their 30 or whatever.
I as a guy that said Sweat was going to have a big play today, I think I concede to Tyler Steen there for the hero of the game.
Okay, well, Tyler Steen and Josh Sweat are officially invited to the PHLY studios to share a loaf of bread because hero bread is what it's all about. If you're looking for, I don't want to give up bread. I love bread too much.
No.
But if you're trying to be a little bit healthier with your bread, make it a little bit nicer on your gut, well, talk to Hero Bread. The taste and texture is great. The bread is soft and fluffy and delicious. The primary nutritional interest, it's high fiber and ultra low net carbs and 0 grams of sugar per slice. You get a 10% off discount with code PHLY. It's also good for that secondary nutrition because I think the Eagles could use a little bit of help in the nutrition of their secondary. Fewer calories than the leading national brand, 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. Right now, Hero Bread is offering the PHLY fam 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co and use our code PHLY to save on Hero Bread today. That's HERO.co to save 10% today.
So the Nick Sirianni, because I saw some people kind of roasting Sirianni for that challenge we were just talking about. I can't kill him for that because it was a 4th down.
It was so high leverage.
Yeah. Like,
I know that
chances are they're not going to overturn it.
A spot is never going to get overturned,
Yeah.
right? And especially like a quarterback sneak one.
Sure.
But it was a weird situation because they never really spotted the ball. They never measured it, right? They saw the penalty and they just sort of kept going.
And then the kerfuffle happened.
But you did have like an overhead view to see that he didn't really move forward too much. I don't think that he got it. I'm not surprised they didn't overturn it. But yes, I think that like the swing and win probability based on the outcome of that call was worth it. So huge that I think it is worth it.
It was kind of a game of challenges. I mean, between the Dak 2-point thing and then the non-touchdown.
The Schoonmaker, yeah.
Yeah, Schoonmaker.
Which is a nice play by Reed Blankenship.
It was a nice play by Reed Blankenship. He kind of started the tackle before the ball even got there and got away with it because it was such a tight play. But yeah, like challenges played a big part in this game today.
Yeah.
Schoonmaker.
Hell
of a review.
4th and goal going to Schoonmaker is a ballsy call.
And then a game of inches. It's a game of inches. That was my Al Pacino. It's not very good.
Oh, it's not bad. A little throatier.
Yeah, like I needed a pack of cigarettes.
Smokier.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you just taking stock? How do you feel now? 8-1. So much to complain about.
Yeah, I feel pretty great. I mean, I think it's clear that they're the best team in the NFC. They obviously have their holes, but so does every team. And I think those holes right now are what we were talking about, the middle of the field and the ability to kind of pick them apart a little bit. But, for the most part, I don't think, I think you're in a class of your own in the NFC, and then right below you is San Fran. And I think Dallas is right there too. But, to be 8-1 and feel as though they haven't really strung together 4 consecutive quarters of great Eagles football is, in a weird way, encouraging. Because if they can get this going and clean up some of these things like stupid penalties, inability to run the ball in short yardage when you need it.
They got a little lucky with the turnovers today.
You did.
The Steen one, also Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball.
A lot of self-inflicted wounds, it feels like.
Early in this game and was able to recover it himself, so that could have gone either way. But yeah, I mean, it is. It's the same thing we've been talking about all season. Like, they have not put together a complete game. The Dolphins game was probably the closest.
Yeah. And they're 8-1.
And they're 8-1, and they covered the spread in this game, 28-23.
By the way, my prediction was 28-24.
Whew. The precog.
Woo! I saw Eugene Krabs. If you can scroll up, Andrew, just a second. I wanted to get back to his. Oh, he said the Ravens are scary as hell.
The Ravens look good.
The Ravens look really good. But if you had to ask, the majority of executives around the league right now, I would think the Eagles are, a top 2 or 3 team, amongst all of the executives if they had truth serum in them. It's probably the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Eagles are probably the top 3 teams so far this year.
Yeah, I think that's the top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bills looking in, 49ers looking in, but the NFC, and this was a huge game in getting that bye and that playoff game through Lincoln Financial Field today. That was a really big step, and I would have to think their odds on DraftKings, shrunk to win the NFC today.
Meanwhile, at the end of the season, the Eagles might be seeing a lot of Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, it looks like Daniel Jones could have a torn ACL, according to Mike Garafolo and Ian Rapoport. A lot of P's and O's in there, right?
Yeah, it's Rapoport. And there's only one P, and then before it's a tough word to spell.
It's actually good news for the Giants because they suck. And
I thought you meant that his name is spelled like that. It's good news. I can see that being good news for the Giants somehow.
But now they can just officially tank. You don't have to pretend anymore. Mm-hmm. So Tommy DeVito is going to be leading them, it looks like, for the rest of the season. They're terrible. Yes, North Jersey is going to love Tommy DeVito for the remainder of the year. But yeah, it looks like they can officially throw in the towel. That's over.
Now, the Goddard of it all, it has been a slightly underwhelming season for Dallas Goedert so far this year. He had the one really big game, but on the year, let me see if I can pull this up quickly. Not quite as productive as he was a season ago. And if he's out for an extended period of time, you wonder what it does to the offense because he has missed time a lot. He missed time last year. so far on the season. It looks like he was at about 400 yards through 8-9 games, which means that he was on pace for actually more yards than last year, but that's because he missed 5 games last year. He has been a not as explosive part of the offense this year. It has been so tilted towards A.J. Brown.
Yeah, he was a big yak machine in years past, and it that is missing.
It is missing a little bit, but if he's gone, I don't know who steps in there. I think maybe Julio Jones is like big enough to sort of play that tight end role for them, because it's not going to be Jack Stoll. Now, Quez Watkins, theoretically, on his way back from injured reserve at some point soon. A different type of player, but a different dynamic in the offense at least.
So are you telling me I can hang up my hopes and dreams on Tyree Jackson? It's not happening for us?
He's gone. He's not even on the team anymore.
So it's just over. Or are they going to bring him back? Yeah,
it's a good question. I don't know if he's on a practice squad elsewhere because they signed a guy, E.J. Jenkins, to the practice squad.
I thought Tyree was going to... he was the, when you buy penny stocks and you're like, this is going to be my guy. And I was that with Josh Sweat a long time ago. I thought Tyree was going to be my penny stock that made me a crypto billionaire, but alas.
Believe it or not, Tyree Jackson is on the New York Giants practice squad.
Ooh. And I saw a couple people in the comment section. If you're Carson Wentz and the Giants don't come calling, you might as well just hand in your retirement paperwork, right?
Yeah, I think the Vikings one is bad too, because you can understand why a team out of it isn't going to call you, but a team that's still theoretically in the playoff hunt.
And they went and traded for Dobbs.
Yeah, I mean
he can pretty much submit his retirement
that's
paperwork.
A tough scene.
That's over. It's wild to think about.
It's crazy.
Absolutely wild.
It's crazy.
Good for him making a lot of money and being able to walk when he's 40. But yeah, that career is over.
Or like sit in a blind. That's probably
duck blind. Yeah, he'll be up there a lot.
Just in the way that the Cowboys attacked the Eagles defense, we've talked about it nonstop, but it was clear just watching on TV, like they threw probably 3 balls to the wide receivers on the outside who weren't CeeDee Lamb. It was everything in the middle of the field. And it did seem like there were adjustments on defense. It's just that there wasn't much they can do. And I think you do have to say that like CeeDee Lamb is really, really, really good. There's not that much you can do when this is your personnel. I would say that like the Ferguson 7 for 91 is a little bit more concerning than the CeeDee Lamb 11 for 191.
Yeah, definitely. And that was a nice call by you to get that in the best bets. He had himself a day. It's concerning in the middle of the field. Nakobe Dean hasn't really shown me.
Well, and he left this game too. We didn't even mention. He left with a foot and did not return.
Yeah, we'll have to ask
Another
Zach about that.
For Nakobe Dean, yes.
But even when he's been playing, I'm not seeing it.
I find myself a little bit underwhelmed.
Yeah, and maybe it's why he slipped to the 3rd round. The draft.
At the same time, Zach Cunningham has been really good.
He has been solid. Yeah, he had a nice break up in the end zone there. But yeah, Nakobe Dean, and it's just like this is our Eagles' life. Like going back to who are our linebackers, and Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham. Like you can't do this year after year. That's why T.J. Edwards was such a steal for them. They finally hit on a guy with a low round pick that became a player for like 3 seasons for you. It's so hard year after year to just go back to the well and find these Morrows and Cunninghams and hope they work out. You really need to develop somebody in the system, and that's why Nakobe Dean had the attention of so many Eagles fans, because it was like, all right, this is a high pedigree kid from Georgia. Like he's got to be the one. He has to step up and develop.
And that's what they're counting on. When they use a pick that that they don't want to draft a linebacker that high. No. So when they use a pick on a guy like that, that's the expectation.
Sure. And Chris Naveen in the chat says Cunningham was everywhere. That has been a good signing, but that's so hard to do year after year after year. If you're signing these guys on 1-year deals, Dean has to, I think, show a lot, in this final second half of the season.
Can you imagine how, disastrously iconic that A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift fumble would have been if the Cowboys
they would have been getting
that
roasted in the national media.
Turned it to a touchdown. It was like butt fumble level. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was real. I still don't understand what happened.
Well, as
AJ was in motion.
You know what? We killed the broadcast last week, right?
Yeah.
Burkhart and Olsen did a fantastic job. Those guys are awesome. And Olsen mentioned it that they were sort of trying to play off of the A.J. Brown touchdown where he starts, inside the formation on the right side and sneaks out to the left side. I think they were trying to pull some attention away from the Swift run, but certainly the timing.
I thought he was.
That's one they're going to need to work on.
I thought Swift was knocked out. Like it looked like he blindsided him cold, and he just like went like limp for a second. That was that was an all-time disastrous play. If Tyler Steen isn't the hero of the game.
It would be the Ronnie Brown play.
Worse
if they lost that game, right? We may never still stop talking about it, but that would be like, could you like if they lost that game, this game that they had in hand, and now all of a sudden they have this disastrous loss going into the bye, and they're only up a half a game on the Cowboys, and they got the Chiefs next, and like AJ Brown, who has been the star of the first half of the season, is the GOAT all of a sudden. The vibes would not be so good.
No, it wouldn't be good at all. Jeez. I mean, that's a comically bad play, and that's why Tyler Steen was our hero of the game. I'm really looking forward to Cam Jurgens being back, though. There's no reason to expect that he's not back after the bye, right?
I think so. That's okay. I'm classically not a doctor, but
sure. But you did say at a Holiday Inn Express.
They started his 21-day practice window, and they have a bye coming up. So I would imagine that means they fully expect him to be ready after that. Because if they don't activate him the following week after that, then he just goes straight to IR. So
okay. Yes, he will be back.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Man,
jeez,
they're 8-1, and it's just like, how? And the one loss is to the Jets? Such a weird season.
Okay. Do we have Shady Rays, or was that we gotta do that? Should we do that now?
Let's might as well.
Now. Okay. Shady Rays, everybody. It's not just like a guy named Ray
who's shady,
and he's like selling you stuff on the sideline. That's not what's going on here. This is the fantastic sunglasses company, Shady Rays.
Although I have probably seen a Shady Ray or two selling fatty cold whippets down in the lots before.
I mean, I feel like the name Ray over 50% shady.
What's the first Ray you think of? Because mine is a fictional character.
I guess Leota.
I go Ray Finkel.
Yeah, I mean, both shady.
Very shady.
You show me a Ray, I'll show you a Shady Ray. I feel like, there's no such thing as a buttoned-up Ray.
Is there any Rays in the chat? Do you want to defend yourself? Or should we just get you in some nice sunglasses?
There's Ray who works for the Eagles content department and does a fantastic job.
So that's a good
Ray?
Ray?
Helps produce like some of the best content they've had. But I think even he himself would say he's a little bit shady. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, wait, we got a Ray in the chat. Just Ray. He said rude. Well, Ray, are you shady or are you...
Ray, be honest.
Yeah. Oh, Ray Didinger?
Ray Didinger. You know what?
That's a good balancer.
He is like the least shady. He is the exception that proves the rule.
Yes, he might cancel your theory out.
He is the exception that proves the rule because he is like the least shady person there's ever been.
He is a sweetheart of a man.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I feel good. I feel like we've
all right, we're back. Ray Didinger brought us back.
With
good job, Ray.
Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that is just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. And if you're into winter sports, their quick swap snow lenses switch easily from full sun to low light. Don't let changing light conditions slow you down on the slopes when all you need is Shady Rays snow goggles. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. If you need to avert your eyes to not see the red thong being worn by a coach on the sideline, every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. Shady Rays is also committed to making a difference in communities across the U.S. through their Impact program, teaming up with nonprofits to help people live healthy, courageous lives through some of their most challenging times. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out an amazing deal for the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY for 50% off. 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
I got the most famous Rays according to Google.
Okay.
Ray Liotta.
Famous Ray's Pizza is like a...
yeah. Ray Liotta.
Okay, Liotta.
He plays a lot of shady characters.
Sure does. Yeah.
Ray J. We've
Ray
all
J.
seen that Shady
I mean,
video.
That's Shady. Yeah.
Probably put on by Kim's mom. Ray Kroc. I don't even know who that is. Is that
Ray Kroc is the founder of McDonald's. Well, not the founder, the guy who basically stole the idea of McDonald's. He's the Michael Keaton
so
character.
Shady, you would say?
As shady as it gets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ray Romano.
I think shady enough.
He was a sports journalist, and everybody loves Ray.
Yeah, shady.
Ray Davies.
Who is Ray Davies? This one's a tough one. For me.
He is an English musician. The Kinks. He was the vocalist for the Kinks. Kinks, a little shady.
Yeah, okay.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, definitely shady.
There's some shade there. Ray LaMontagne, the musician. I can't speak
I don't
to
know
his
enough
shadiness.
about him. Yeah, to say whether he's shady or not. But so far, we're cooking with gas.
Yeah. Ray Manzarek, who is a American keyboardist. The list of famous Rays is not
off.
very deep.
It's dropped off significantly. Yeah. Ray Lankford.
He did not make the cut. Ray Winstone, Ray Stevens.
Ray Ratto.
He's not on Google's list.
Okay.
Ray Allen.
Drop your favorite Rays in the chat.
It's Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Yeah. Stingray, Manta Ray. All good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. How do you feel about the Chiefs game?
The Chiefs aren't setting the world on fire.
No. Their defense much better than it has been in years.
Yes, Steve Spagnuolo actually has some players a little bit this time around. I probably feel better about that game than I would have prior to the season, if that makes sense.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so I think that, and that's here in, oh no, that's in KC.
In KC.
I think that's probably Chiefs minus 3.5. Like, I think that's kind of a coin flip type of game where you get the home team, 3 points there on the line. But I certainly don't feel as though they.
Yes, as of today, it's a 3-point.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a pretty evenly matched game, to be honest with you. KC is a tough place to play. Really cool stadium. I don't know if you've ever made it there. But KC is it's a good scene for football. So if there's
it is a good scene.
Yeah, if there's people going for that trip, definitely some good stuff.
Was there in 2017 when Chris Jones forced Isaac Seumalo to the bench, and the Eagles lost that game.
Did you get the barbecue while you were there?
I did.
What'd you think?
It's very good.
Yeah, it was very good.
I think it's.
It lives up to the hype.
It lives up to the hype.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, I feel as though they can go down to Kansas City and get a win.
I think so.
You probably can't be as sloppy as you were in the fourth quarter today.
Yeah, but I keep saying this. Like, they can't be as sloppy against these other teams. And then they ran into each other and fumbled the ball with the game on the line, and they still beat the Cowboys. But
the fear is just, Patrick Mahomes has the ball in his hands with an opportunity to win late.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes isn't accidentally stepping out of bounds on a two-point conversion.
Yeah, those types of mistakes just don't happen there. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I guess, does that count?
I don't think that counts.
Yeah, I think that he's a Steve. But yeah, I think KC, you can certainly win. They're not the terrifying Patrick Mahomes KC of years past.
So Cowboys outgained the Eagles by almost 100 yards in this game, 406 to 292. I think that has more to do with sort of the flow of the game at the end than anything to be super concerned about. But the offense, it is a little bit dispiriting how much they sort of laid an egg at the end. I mean, 3 straight 3-and-outs on their final 3 possessions is pretty garbanzo beans. Like, that's as bad as it gets.
So we talked about the terrible play call on what was it, 3rd and 7 there with
the second to last possession.
How much of this fourth quarter do you put on Brian Johnson? Do you think it was the actual play designs?
I think the first drive, they're backed up at their 1 foot line, right? I think that possession was fine. You sneak out, you run the ball, and then you have the short pass to DeVonta Smith, which you just hope gets a first down. I think that's okay. You're just trying to get out of territory. That second to last drive, I do put on Brian Johnson. Then this could be a thing where we have seen in the past Jalen Hurts checks to, he sees a one-on-one opportunity for his big play receiver on the outside, and he'll just check to it and go to it. It's possible that was a check, but 3rd and 3, when you know that first down is going to put you in position to really salt the game away, and knowing that, as Nick Sirianni said, if you get to 1 yard to go, you've got the tush push in your back pocket.
Sure.
You start on 1st and 9 or whatever it is. I am shocked that they threw the ball there, and if they're going to throw the ball, that it was a play like that and not one of those little RPR things where they're rolling out. So I do put that on Johnson a little bit. I think he called a great game otherwise, and then. The last possession, I think if you're going to throw, you probably throw on second down because that's when you're expecting the Cowboys defense to sell out. I don't hate it. Like, you do want to be able to run the ball, and you do want to make sure that the Cowboys salt those timeouts away. I can't really put it on Brian Johnson that A.J. Brown ran into DeAndre Swift.
No, that's not Brian Johnson's fault. And I think the one on the goal line is like such a tough offensive possession that you can't really blame him there. I did like starting with the tush push right out, from the 1 inch. I thought that was actually pretty good. And it's funny, if you watch that play, Micah Parsons just like jumps on top and gets like a 3-yard ride, just like on the massive bodies. But yeah, that one play call is probably going to stick with me this week, is like, why did you do that?
Yeah, that's the one that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like, you don't have a better 5 or 6 yard play in your bag than that, and it even looked like AJ and Jalen were
fully on the same page.
Yeah, and some of those, I don't know. The running game is what has me concerned from the offensive standpoint. Hopefully, it's just something as simple as Cam Jurgens returning to play, and the run game picks back up. But something tells me it's not that easy.
Yeah, I think if you were to sort of talk about how the Eagles of the first quarter of the season are different than the Eagles of the second quarter of the season, the running game is a huge difference.
Sure.
I think Jalen is playing better after the second quarter than he was to start the season, but that's sort of like you talk yourself into. If both of those things can happen at the same time, we're unstoppable. They need to get that. They need to get that figured out, because otherwise it makes everything else more difficult.
Yeah, it does. The answer in the chat said Hurts throwing into triple coverage makes me cringe. I know the play you're talking about. I think it's the one the A.J. Brown ball in the end zone.
Yeah, it was a first down play.
And I think Olsen was right, where it was just one of those like, all right, I'm kind of losing my.
You got to give it like. After everything we've seen over the first 8 games of the season, we're going to really get on him for throwing it to A.J. Brown.
Sometimes you just throw a ball up to a playmaker.
Now, I did think that DeVonta Smith was open on the play, but that was just off the TV copy. I'd like to rewatch it. But, I mean, it's not an ideal on first down play.
But I agree with you. The second half of this first half, or I guess the second quarter, that would be that. What's that's called? Jalen has improved from the first quarter.
I think so.
Yeah, so that's encouraging. And hopefully, time off, because he won't have to press the knee now. So you get this full week, you get all the next week, and then leading up to the next game, he's going to...
And it's a Monday night game, too.
Yeah, so you're getting
it's a one-day difference, but still.
A solid, 16, 17 days of not really having to put a lot of pressure on that bone bruise. You can get some treatments. This is his best shot at getting healthy. Because to me, again, no doctor here, but it seems like every game day, it's just going to reset back to aggravation.
Right.
And Lawrence hit him today, and that probably made it worse than it's been. And now he's got time off, and hopefully maybe get him over to Germany, get some blood cycling in there, a little HGH, something.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just shoot that thing up and stay off of it. And, hopefully he comes out of the bye healthy and feeling good.
Well, the other person that I hope comes out of the bye feeling healthy and good is Zach Berman, who is... once again set up a beautiful backdrop shot at Lincoln Financial Field. He's right, it looks like at about the 35-yard line, beautifully lit Lincoln Financial Field behind him. Zach, how are you? What was the mood in the locker room? Did you have a chance to catch up with Matt Leo?
Did not have the chance to catch up with Matt Leo. The mood in the locker room was relief. That's the word I would use. Exhilaration, certainly, but relief. Like that final minute, Lane Johnson was saying it aged him in dog years, so he said he's probably 42 at the end of this game. This was, speaking to the defensive players, that stand at the end, it was close, but obviously they held on. Slay missed a few plays there. Bradbury missed a few plays there. Josh Sweat had that huge sack. I asked Josh Sweat if he thought the game was over, and he said he knew the game wasn't over, but he had to get the celebration in. That's so.
But did he have to run so far to do it?
Yeah, he said he needed the celebration in there. He said he's never had a sack in that situation. So yeah, there's a lot of relief in that locker room. But look, they're sitting here at 8-1. And the other thing I can tell you is this is a locker room that is very excited for this bye week. Like I can't overstate that enough. These guys want this rest. They need this rest, and it comes at a good time for them.
Yeah, so Zach, people in the comment section, me, myself, are curious. The big one, I don't know if you got any updates or if you saw him in a sling or if he was even in the locker room, but Dallas Goedert, and it looked like possibly the forearm there. Any update yet on that? Hoping for good news, obviously.
No, so I did not go to Nick Sirianni's press conference tonight because I was working the locker room, and I wanted to make sure I had intel from a lot of different players from the locker room there, and but I don't think Sirianni would have addressed that after the game. I'll find
not.
out. I did not
Just
see
from
Dallas.
a quick look on Twitter, it doesn't look like there's any update yet. So
Yeah, I did not see Dallas in the locker room, but I think the way you explained it's right is that he went right to the locker room after the injury. The Eagles initially said he was questionable, then they declared him out. Usually that happens after an X-ray in that situation. So certainly I'm not a doctor. I don't want to play one on the PHLY Eagles podcast, but I can't imagine this is a particularly good. And I'm not expecting positive news for the Eagles on this injury. We'll see though.
Zach, I'm sorry. Are you at the 50?
I am at the 50. Yeah.
I'm sorry
yeah.
for shortchanging you.
I'm at actually like the 40.
The 45.
Yeah. 45. That's good. Yeah, 45. I'll take that.
You look great. How long did you work on that shot? Fantastic job.
Yeah, it's really quite nice.
I appreciate the compliment. Did not work on the shot at all. Actually, I was if you talk to anyone who was here, I was huffing and puffing, or I shouldn't say huffing and puffing. I want to give myself a little more credit. I was sprinting up here. Another reporter, I'll give a shout out to Elliot Shore Parks. He's like, "You're not going to Jalen," and I was like, "No, I got to go on the show." He understood. This is my new reality here, right? So then got my computer, came right to a box, opened it up, put the link in. I didn't know the shot was going to look like this, but I'm confident that it's better than the pregame shot.
I think through 8 weeks or 9 weeks, whatever the hell we're at, I think this is your best backdrop to date, Zach.
You know what? I wish they would let me watch the game in this box because then the pregame would be like this as well. A lot they do not.
So, Zach, I don't know if you had a chance to talk to many offensive players. You mentioned Lane Johnson, but 3 and outs on offense to end the game when they had a chance to salt the game away. If they had lost this game, it would have been on them. They would have been, in my opinion, the side to blame. The defense was gassed at the end. A great job by Josh Sweat. What was the tenor of the offense, and was there any explanation for how things all of a sudden, screeched to a halt?
Good question. Did not get too much on that other than, they said that there were some scares there, and they were fortunate to get by. I asked Tyler Steen about the fumble recovery. I grabbed him as he was walking out. I was hoping
hero
for
of the game.
I was hoping for some elaborate, story or some great nugget that I could give the PHLY show and then put the and then put in my story on allphly.com. And Tyler said he saw the ball on the ground and he jumped on it. Okay, so sometimes it's as simple as that. But no, I'm eager to hear what Jalen said. But most of the conversations I had in the locker room were with the defensive guys, and the secondary, and I spoke to Eli Ricks, who was bouncing around there. I spoke to Lane, like you said, Josh Sweat, Jordan Davis, James Bradbury for a bit. So heard from a handful of different people, but spent a lot of time with Slay. Slay was particularly colorful after this game.
So, Zach, I saw you tweet out during the game, A.J. Brown over 1,000 yards through 9 games on the year. This was the first one in a while where he was kind of kept in check, I guess, as best you can with A.J. Brown. Just a pretty, not much of a question here, but just a pretty remarkable year, something Eagles fans aren't used to here. 1,000 yards in 9 games seems pretty insane.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, and I do my own post game scouting, right? Like I watch the shows back, and I feel like I'm always ripping on Greg Ward and Travis Fulgham, which I feel bad doing that. Like
And
I
so
always
you
mention
and so you've decided to rectify that by bringing them up again.
my point is like from Jeremy Maclin in 2014 to last year with DeVonta and AJ Brown, the Eagles did not have a wide receiver reach 1,000 yards, and there were a lot of wide
Yeah.
receivers during the period. For AJ to do it, and they're not even in double-digit games yet, right? 9 games. That's pretty remarkable. Now, I made the mistake last year of I asked him about the 1,000 yards because his nickname's 1K. Apparently, 1K doesn't have anything to do with the yards. He kind of like laughed at me for bringing that up. It was a bit presumptuous of me to think that his nickname had to do with football. But
What is
he
it?
didn't.
Did he say what it does have to do with?
No, he did not. Yeah, he did not. He said that's not for 1,000 yards. And he says that he also said last year like 1,000 yards for him isn't like a great season. Like he's expected to get 1,000 yards, right? So at this point, we'll see if he can get the 2,000 or at least 1,800 perhaps. But yeah, I agree with you. Like what AJ Brown's doing is special. And by the way, I'm kind of flexing here, I guess. But
Nice.
Bo knows that I'll have my binoculars clued in on like on a certain player on a particular play. And Devontae's touchdown, I was watching Devontae like from the break. I saw the entire route because I saw he was in 1-on-1 on the opposite side. I was watching that. Just an incredible route by Devontae. And I've used this line before. When you see Devontae wide open, it's usually because of what happens early in the route. And that's what happened on that touchdown. He ran a great route on Bland early on, had a great catch along the sideline. So I don't want Devontae to get lost in this too, because man, he is like some of these catches he makes are pretty special. And they're gonna have to lean on Devontae and AJ even more if this Goddard injury is as significant as it might be.
And a beautiful throw from Jalen Hurts on that touchdown as well. The middle of the field defense, Zach. CeeDee Lamb, 11 catches for 191 yards. A lot of those coming in the middle of the field. Jake Ferguson, 7 catches for 91 yards. They were picking apart the linebackers and safeties and nickels in this game. Do you have any hope there? Did it look that bad to you in the stadium? What's your assessment of how the Eagles move forward there?
Yeah, now this was a particularly tough matchup for them. I spoke to Eli Ricks one-on-one for quite a bit, and he was pretty tough on himself, given yeah, I didn't think he was horrible out there, but he said him and Sydney like this was a really important game for them, right? This is a game that he says they've been playing well, and this is a game that will give them a lot to look at. He thought they were kind of well prepared for what the Cowboys were going to do, but the Cowboys did a few different things. Darius Slay said that part of the game plan was for him to move inside on Lamb in certain plays, but there were a lot of times, for instance, when Eli Ricks was one-on-one against him, right? And I thought that yeah, the Cowboys targeted it. I didn't think the Eagles had great answers. Speaking to Kevin Byard, for instance, he was saying that on that final drive there, like the communication was really tested because obviously when Bradbury and Slay went down, and then you had Rick going to the outside, and Rick hasn't practiced on the outside since Devontae went down, by the way. So there were a lot of dynamics at play. But I agree with your
Where have you
overall.
gone, Josh Jobe?
Yeah, I mean, Ricks knows he's the top active there. Ricks has obviously jumped in front of him, but the middle of the field was an issue. And this is, by the way, like Andy Reid saw this game, or he'll see this game film tonight, right? And this is something that I think it's going to be the big question going into the Chiefs game is the Chiefs are going to attack the middle of the field on the Eagles, and what are they going to do? Spoke to Blankenship for a bit. Like this is going to be a huge question. We have 2 weeks to talk about the Chiefs. I don't want to make the postgame show about the Chiefs, but this is going to be what the Chiefs are going to try to do is attack the middle of the field against the Eagles.
Yeah, and Zach, you bring up a very fair point because they have this guy named Travis Kelce who feasts across the middle of the field, and it's going to be a Kelce Bowl again, and who knows, maybe a Swiftie will be in the house as well. But yeah, like that is a huge concern going forward. Now, one of the plays we've been talking about a lot in the postgame before you joined us here, Zach, was the 3rd and 7 kind of fade, I guess, to A.J. Brown over on the sidelines. Was there? I guess that probably doesn't come up in the post-game scrums, but it seemed like a very weird play call by Brian Johnson there. Jalen and AJ weren't on the same page. What was your kind of reaction seeing that unfold in the box?
Yeah, same thing you said. Didn't really like that play there. I didn't think it was a high percentage throw in that situation.
No.
I would have tried to set up, Nick Sirianni says that it's 1st and 9 whenever they're on the field, right? I would have tried to set up something to get at least a manageable 4th down, to at least have that option to go for it there. I didn't think that was the best play design or the best play call. As I said, I did not go to Sirianni tonight because I didn't want to miss all the players were in there at the same time. I didn't want to miss those guys. But when I speak to Sirianni tomorrow, if that didn't come up today, that's a play call that we'll certainly follow up on. But watching it, I had that same sentiment. I was thinking they would try to do something to get into 4th and manageable, if not the 1st down, and then try to kind of ice the game away that way. And like you asked me a few questions ago, I think it was Bo who asked me, the Eagles offense had opportunities here to put them away. And I was thinking of that game last year when they had that 13-play, 75-yard drive and took the 3 game and made it a double-digit margin, right? That's what the Eagles could have done, and they didn't take that opportunity. And the offense, I thought Jalen played really well overall, but I think in the 4th quarter there's some drives they're going to want back there.
Yeah, I said to Bo earlier, and we've been talking about it a little bit, it seems like when they need the run, when they need to kill some clock and protect a lead, that's when their run game's at their worst. Do you think that's something as simple as the absence of Cam Jurgens and kind of, the Opeta and Steen effect there, or is that just optimistic?
I honestly think it's Jalen not running as much as he is. The quarterback draw or the ability to take it around the edge. I don't think teams are. I didn't think tonight that Dallas was as worried about Jalen running, right? And so I think when you have that threat, that would change quite a bit in these 4th quarter situations.
Zach, I want to incentivize the listeners to also tune in to the kickoff show, so I want to just call back here and ask if you've done any work since we last talked on the Christianity Mafia.
No, I that has not come up in my mind since the pregame show. But I have 2 weeks to self-scout here, and I will figure out a way to. I definitely want to grow the audience. As I was running up, actually, by the way, one of the security guards said, "Hey, I love the show," and I said, "Thank you. I'm running up now to get to it." So, but I don't think he was part of that mafia that you're referring to. So I welcome all listeners and viewers. I want to grow this audience. So if there's a segment of the fan base that I'm not appealing to.
Well, Santiago wants you to know, Zach, that DeAndre Swift is actually a Satanist. So does that affect your view?
Well, now, do we know that? I think he might be talking about Taylor Swift.
Oh, is he?
Because there's a whole side conversation. It seems like going on about
I got my
Taylor
Swifts mixed up here.
Zach, what else?
No, I'm with you there, Jamie. The only Swift I think about is DeAndre. So.
Yes. What else did? Is there anything else from the locker room that you feel like we should know?
Yeah. So Darius Slay said that's not the first time that he's upended a player. He wanted to make sure that was clear. It was the first time he upended Dak, and he said you guys don't realize how big Dak is. And then I brought up a story that he told us a few years ago about how when Slay doesn't like to lift weights, and he got in trouble at Mississippi State for skipping a weightlifting session, and his punishment was he had to carry Dak Prescott up a hill. And he said, you guys don't realize how heavy he was. It reminded him of that. But Prescott gave him a solid back then and actually ran the hills with him, as opposed to making, he said, when the coaching staff wasn't looking. But Slay the injury was to his arm or shoulder or whatever. He missed a few plays. He's I asked him if he was worried he wouldn't be able to get back in there. And he looked at me well, I'm crazy. He knew he was going to get back in there. He told him he had to get back in there. He got back in there. He said the final play to Lamb was a really well-designed play by Dallas. He liked what Dallas did. I was wondering why they kind of threw it short. He thought it was a really nice play, and he just had to make the tackle there. And then it was kind of relief when he did so. But so it was interesting talking to Slay. Lane Johnson, yeah, basically talked about like how much this team needs to buy. I thought, or how much he'll enjoy the bye. Like there was a lot of people kind of bringing up the Chiefs game, and Lane's like, no, I'm looking forward to the bye, and I think that was the sentiment from a lot of different players. But I did ask Josh Sweat if he, like I said earlier, if he thought the game was over there because that was a very pronounced celebration, and he said he had to get the celebration in. He knew there was another play.
I respect that.
Yeah, he had to get the
it in.
celebration.
It's a great celebration.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, Zach. Well, thank you so much. We will let you get to writing. You can read whatever Zach comes up with on allphly.com tonight.
I'm going to kind of take you guys into the final play there, or I'm sorry, into the final drive there, and kind of what they were experiencing on that final drive. So I'll try to bring that to life, and we'll have more coverage this week, and then certainly going into next week with the Chiefs. I'm going to have more stories on allphly.com, and can't wait for these shows because there's going to be a lot to discuss. Rich storylines.
I look forward to that as well, Zach. And yes, so much going on that final drive, from the big play on the penalty to open the drive on Bradbury to all the moving parts in the secondary and the big sack by Josh Sweat in the celebration, which I'm sure we'll read about. So thank you very much. Good luck writing, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. We are live at 4 o'clock tomorrow, I believe.
4 o'clock. Look forward to it.
All right.
See you, Zach.
4 o'clock sounds a little bit like faux co. See, 4 o'clock, faux co.
That's pretty good.
That's as good of a transition as you'll get.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah. FOCO is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. It's the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms. It's football and tailgating season. Overalls, hoodies, hats, sunglasses, bags, everything you need for a game. FOCO has hooked PHLY up and provided awesome pieces for our sets. You can see them all around. FOCO always has our back for Philly sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in our description. For all non-presale items, use the promo code PHLY for 10% off.
Do you think Coach Matt Leo knows why he's being...
I think it's made it to him by now.
You think it has?
Don't you think? Yeah.
I would think.
I'd love to hear...
Is he going to be asked about what?
He doesn't have any media availability. There's no...
So he can hide.
He's not even like a position coach who is supposed to talk to the media. He hasn't talked all year.
Who do you think is going to get to the bottom of this? No pun intended.
Well, that's really good. You know what? It is interesting. This season that has been defined by the tush push. It all comes back to the behind. I think that would be like... Jalen doesn't show a ton of personality, but if he were to come out for the Chiefs game with like that underneath his jersey, just for the next tush push, I think that'd be great. I would imagine that. I think now the problem is they've got the week off. So this is going to die down a little bit.
I don't think we can let that die.
But I think that some intrepid reporter needs to go into the locker room and ask the defensive line. Matt Leo works with the defensive line. We got to know, have they all been talking about it?
Yeah. And if you're unaware what we're talking about, just do a quick little search or check out some pictures on the internet, and you'll know.
I'm so proud of him. What respect for whatever is going on there. Good for him. Nothing to be ashamed of.
No, let your freak flag fly if that's what you're into.
Yeah, as you have said before, this is not a kink shaming podcast.
No, not at all. I just can't imagine how, if it is what people speculate it is, which it probably isn't, how that would be comfortable.
There are thousands of explanations. Could be anything.
I'd really like an official statement from him. Like a press release from the office of Matt Leo.
Just a Zoom press conference tomorrow. Maybe we could ask Sirianni in his press conference tomorrow. All right, so
how do you think he would handle that if somebody actually asked him in his press conference? Like he would have to start laughing, right?
I think he would start laughing. Yeah, but I think he would say he would shy away from answering it on the record. But
it could be one of the funniest press conference moments in history if somebody is willing to ask.
I don't know if I can burn my one question on it. I don't know if it's going to be good for me in the long run. But
Probably not. I wouldn't, as a friend, I wouldn't advise it for you. But hopefully somebody takes the torch and runs with it.
yeah, could be good. All right. Well, the Eagles are 8-1. They've got the best record in the NFL. They have a 2.5 game lead in the NFC East.
Crazy.
They are a game and a half up on the Detroit Lions for the number 1 seed in the NFC. And so you can see the picture. You can see the horizon. A chance, once again, for the Eagles to get the number 1 seed, but there's a long way to go the entire second half of the season and a 5-game gauntlet that is going to be pretty difficult. So a long way to go, but as you said, Jamie, you feel good that they've got the best record in football. They haven't put together a complete game, but neither has any other team in the NFL, right? Like, maybe the Ravens at their best have been there, but the Eagles should feel pretty good.
Yeah, and coming out of the bye, you're going to have one of the biggest tests in all of football. And there's a good game tonight with Cincinnati and the Bills. I think early since he was up 7-0 there. So it's the whole league's going to be watching KC and Philly. Not only is it the Super Bowl rematch, but it's again 2 of the best teams in the league. So it's going to be a pretty big one to find out what this team really is coming out of the bye.
And so you've got Jalen Hurts who gets to rest. Dallas Goedert, we'll find out what's up with him, but certainly a bye will do him well. Darius Slay and James Bradbury and Kobe Dean and Cam Jurgens.
Jordan Davis and his hamstring.
I mean, you could just tell the guys at the end of this game were just exhausted. And it's like Zach said, they are very much looking forward to the bye. And I mean, football is a brutal game.
It's a war of attrition, yeah.
So the bye comes at a good time. And we at PHLY do not have a bye. So we will be with you 4 days this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So lots still to come. And I think that'll do it.
Yeah.
28-23 over the Dallas Cowboys. A wild game that was nearly fumbled away.
And you're going to be shocked to learn, Bo, that Cowboys fans and one of their leaders, Nick Wright, are complaining about the refereeing of tonight's game online.
Really?
They're mad online, yeah.
What are they mad about? There was the one missed hold on Micah Parsons.
Yes.
Which didn't come into play.
Nick Wright's tweet says, I'm really disappointed with the officiating thus far. So this was a live in-game tweet. The defensive pass interference on Gilmore with an uncatchable ball that A.J. Brown gave up on.
I mean, there
plus
were
picking
so
up
many
the flag
ticky-tack calls on the Eagles.
And there was that
one,
I think it was Rick's again, with the hands to the face at the line of scrimmage that they picked up.
I thought the Gilmore one was ticky-tack. I didn't think that was a penalty.
I thought that was ticky-tack too.
But I thought it was as much of a penalty as several of the other ones that were called on the Eagles.
So Cowboys fans are getting mad online.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
Well, that's too bad. I mean, they just, Duke just signed that Cooper Flag guy, so they'll be fine.
Yeah. It's a good point. He's pretty nasty. I've watched some of his videos.
False Flag is my nickname.
Yeah, you're not a believer?
No, I just that's what he looks like to me. Is that kind of guy. All right. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. For Andrew and Jamie and Zach, we thank you for listening. We will talk to you tomorrow. The Eagles enter the bye 8-1 with the best record in the NFL, and there's so much to complain about. We will be here for it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and as always, we love you.
We all silly.